Guys, I'm so sorry. It's my power outage. It's the power outage that happened, and then the internet went away, and then everything was just like not responding. So I had to get it up and running. But we had like over 800 people watching at one point, and then of course this happened. And but if you guys can hear me without any issues, if you guys can see the screen, just let me know in the live chat. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, so yeah, just let me know if you guys can hear me without any issues. All right, so we have 12 people now. Good. All right, so that's good. This right here was the whole list that we were working towards, but of course we had some issues there. All right, good. It works. All right, so I'm not sure how to get that old live stream to be working again, because like I said, we had a lot of people watching, and then of course everything just went blank because the power went out. Sam, that's a great question. Has Bitcoin's crash as a result of Elon's comedy chops? I think it's more of a result of what China announced overnight, basically mentioning or reiterating that they're not going to be accepting any digital tokens as form of payment or currencies, and I think that's what's driving the prices lower. But again, I do apologize for the power outage. It was working absolutely fine until it wasn't. But S&P is now down. Futures are down over 1%. We're seeing NASDAQ futures down over 1.5%. Ethereum, like we talked about how there was a bullish engulfing candle. And on the 5-minute chart, we had a massive inverted hammer candle. So we're seeing a bounce higher off those lows. So definitely, if you were to take a look at the volume, just take a look at the volume during that 5-minute period, right? So if you were to go over to the 5-minute chart for Ethereum, so look at the volume, right? There was not only a lot of... Lily, what's up? I do apologize, everybody. So hopefully the power doesn't go out again, right? Because every time that goes out, the internet shuts off, and we see, everything kind of goes blank. So, but that being said, like, look at the volume on the on Ethereum here. So on a 5-minute chart, we had over 10,000 Ethereums traded. And then on Bitcoin, on this 5-minute, we had over 6,000. So 6,000 actually low for any institutional to kind of jump in. I would assuming like if there was institutional buying at those levels, it'd be a little bit higher in terms of the volume. But nonetheless, we definitely got to bounce off those lows over here. What do you think about NEO? So NEO's prices, this right here is going to be the complete technical breakdown for a lot of these different stocks. For NEO, we've got a $30 support and $34 resistance to watch on the day. All right, let's take a look at the VIX. Up over 9.65%. Let's go over to some stocks, because if the NASDAQ continues to pull back here, we're seeing a lot of the stocks also sell off. Yeah, so weekly charts, Ranjit, you're absolutely right. So weekly charts definitely do look weak. But Palantir is now down almost 4%. We got DraftKings that's down over 3.6. Square's at 196 now, so down over 3.4. Tesla's down over 2.8% now, almost 2.92. Trading as low as 560. So definitely we're seeing a lot of weakness here for Tesla as well. And what is it? Nvidia is now down over 2.45. I think it's been much easier if you use our TradingView platform here. So all right, so let's go over to, so Apple down over 1.3%, now trading under 123, 124. So QuantumScape down over 5%. Okay, so that's a bit of a sell-off there. Tattooed Chef is down over 3%. We got IPOE that's down over 2.5%. We got CCIV that's down over 3.3%. Fubo TV is down over 3%. CVS is down. Upstart is down over 7%. That's a steep sell-off there for Upstart. I think I saw a headline for Upstart as well. So this was May 12th. That was reported a couple days ago. But Palantir is down over 3.72. We got Unity Software that's down over 3.38. Let's go over to Microsoft very quickly for Lane. So Microsoft, the next support is going to be 238. That's the support that we are kind of retesting right now pre-market. So 238 is going to be the support at close to, we're down almost 1.5%. But that right there is going to be the level to watch. And of course, we're seeing a breakdown below the moving averages. So $245 is now going to act as some type of a resistance moving forward. All right, let's listen on this very quickly.
And frankly, the response to blowout earnings.
So to look at the spread market, IG and high yield, what is the full faith and credit yield you're focused on, Lisa? John's focused on 174. What are you focused on?
Right now, I was looking at the fact that the spreads, that basically the extra yield that you earn to own investment grade credit in the United States, fell to the lowest in post-crisis history earlier this week. It has risen a little bit, but if you take a look at the highest rated debt, it is actually doing better right now than certain slices of lower rated debt.
And then the other dynamics, folks, before we get to a wonderful equity guest here, John Farrell, the German 10-year yield speaks volumes. That shift from a negative yield possibly to a positive yield, that changed the dialogue for an ECB meeting.
Yeah, bond market gets the headlines, but keep an eye on Italy.
Ethereum back over 2,700. The way this thing has moved is just phenomenal, right? Came all the way down to 2360, now back over 2700. Bitcoin also almost at 40,000 after retesting those of 36,000. Literally just 20 minutes ago we were trading all the way down to those lows, but we've seen massive push higher very, very quickly. All right, so Microsoft we covered. $238 is going to be the support, and this right here is going to be the resistance at close to 245 to watch for Microsoft. VIX is also included in this, so 20 is going to be the support for VIX. 24.5 is going to be the resistance to watch. Bargain sale, Penguin Dave says, yeah, so that's going to be really, really interesting. Harry, thank you so much for joining back in. Watch volumes today. High volumes suggest institutional sell-off of your stock. Low is to scare retail people. Yeah, volume is going to be a big tell. Yesterday's, breakout, so to speak, was not coming off of high volume levels. We also talked about whether that was going to be a bull trap or a bull run, and towards the end of the day is going to be the big tell whether volume is actually going to be there or not. Yeah, so a lot of fear in the markets today. All right, let's just go back to our stocks here. Unity Software is down. Let's go over to Enphase Energy, now down to 119, down over 2.87%. Shopify is down over 2.3%. We got Peloton down over 2%. Peloton actually had a great day yesterday at the open. So from 92, it surged all the way to highs of 97, up over 5.7% before selling off. NNDM's down over 3.5% here. We've got CPSH down over 6.7%. Genomics ETF. All ARK ETFs have been taking a huge hit, right? So if you go over to ARK ETFs, let's go over to the weeklies. This right here is going to be ARKF. Huge run coming in from so this was started in 2019. Saw the dip in March. From March lows, we went from $17 to highs of 70. So, almost 266% gain there. That can be a 266% gain. Is it? 32? Okay. And now we're down a little bit from the highs. 30% for ARKF. ARKG is down a little bit more severe because biotech and healthcare sector has been killed over the last few weeks. 36% drawdown. ARKW, same pattern. We are down roughly 36%. ARKK, their flagship ETF, from highs of 159, down 36%. ARKQ down 25%, and ARKX, which was recently launched. Bad timing for this launch, right? It's just been down, now under $20. Rita, yes, I am back. I do apologize to everyone for the power outage. And again, if it happens once again in the future, we'll kind of get cut out once again for the live stream. But everything just went black when that happened. So yeah, I do apologize about that. But all right, let's go back to our stocks here very quickly. So Lemonade's down over 3.89. We got Alibaba down over 1.3, trading as 210. If Alibaba dips below 200, you know, that would be steal prices. Like that would literally be like robbery prices for Alibaba at that point if it dips below 200. Like recently we saw a dip all the way down to 204, but under 200 it would be like steal for Alibaba. Twitter's down over 1.84. Neo once again down a little bit over 1.8. Twilio's down. Fiverr's down to 166. AMC is down a little bit, close to 4%. So Baidu down over 1.23. AMD's down over 1.6%. PayPal, Netflix, they're all down. Here, let me see if actually Fed meeting is happening. Like there's been a lot of confusion here. And let's listen on this till I find that.
As the Fed sees as the biggest risk. Why is that the case? Why do you think this time is different than the past several decades where we have not seen this dynamic?
Sure. So you know, here, you know, I would sort of distinguish between sort of the medium-term perspective, which is higher inflation means higher bond yields. It means lower equity multiples or lower earnings yields. That's sort of a medium-term issue. What I would argue is that you know, the near-term issue over the next 3 to 4 to 6 months is really the fact that we've never had a situation historically where the Fed has not begun to normalize rates and there's an inflation concern in the markets. Inflation concerns typically happen very late in the cycle. And so, you know, if the inflation risk actually materializes in terms of being persistent, you know, we're sort of going, this COVID speed cycle is sort of going, you know, right through early, middle, late, and approaching sort of the end cycle. But the biggest risk to the markets comes from the simple fact that, you know, whenever monetary policy, whenever the Fed has responded to inflation risks in the late cycle, more often than not, it ended up basically in a recession, because when they tighten, it takes a while for it to have an impact, and it's always uncertain as to, you know, whether or not it's having an impact, and so it's essentially over adjusted, and that's exactly the same concern. It's just you know, very unusual that it's happening at what is still an early stage of the cycle rather than later on in the cycle.
And so
the market can well move to pricing in, you know, the end of the cycle, which is worth 20 or 25% down in the equity market.
You got the business cycle and the investment cycle. Binky, it's good to catch up. Binky Chowdhury, Deutsche Bank Chief Global Strategist, looking for 4,100 year end on the S&P 500. Right now, 40.84 on the S&P, down about 0.9%, Tom. We're declining about 38, 39 points on the S&P 500.
Interesting, the tensions out there on inflation.
All right, so this right here is going to be the Fed minutes today. Inflation, jobs, and more to watch for in today's Fed's meeting. So the Federal Reserve latest meeting minutes aren't expected to make much of a splash today, but investors should keep an eye. A few different themes. So the minutes are due at 2 p.m. Eastern today. The Fed watchers may face a greater challenge than usual. Deciphering the significance, a lot has changed since the April 28-29 meeting. So those are going to be the notes from the April 28-29 meeting, right? So we've got the jobs report, we've got the stronger than expected consumer inflation report that we've also broken down on the channel. All right, so at least, and unlike last month's meeting, there wasn't an attention-grabbing sell-off in treasuries to command officials' attention. Yet the document may still provide some clues. So it's the Fed minutes, right? It's not actually, I think, Federal Reserve or Jerome Powell actually speaking. It's going to be the report or the meetings notes that they're going to report. And then in June, they're going to have the FOMC meeting. So the document may still provide some clues about the central bank's views, and officials have provided more perspective on policy since the latest meeting as well. So Chair Richard Clarida spoke at the conference on Monday, so that's also something we broke down on the calendar from a couple days ago, and discussed some recent economic data points as well. Jerome Powell has been the assurance that the spring is expected to bring transitory rise in inflation. So that's kind of been like the narrative, right? So transitory, temporary in nature is what we're going to see for inflation, and mostly related to reopening of the U.S. economy after the pandemic brought a sharp deceleration in activity last year. So several mentions of transitory price pressures in the minutes. They also highlighted that many of the steepest increases in consumer price in April were in sectors where demand had been hit most by the pandemic, such as hotels and airfares. So again, that's going to be the year-over-year comparisons that we have to kind of ignore and look at it from a decade-over-decade perspective. In the CPI report, reopening did clearly put upward pressures on the prices. And our baseline view is that most of this is likely going to be transitory once again, but we have to be attuned and attentive to the incoming data. So the element of our mandate is price stability. An important component of price stability is well-anchored inflation expectations. Taper timeline. So again, they're still purchasing close to $120 billion in monthly bond purchases. Powell has said that Fed wants to make a substantial further progress, quote unquote, towards its goals to full employment and long-term average of 2% inflation. If I were to kind of bring up some stats here very quickly, let's see if I can pull that up. Research. We're going to go over to FOMC. This right here was the last summary that we had, right? So from March 16, 17, they basically mentioned that together with her assessment of appropriate monetary policy, so they basically are forecasting the unemployment rate to come down. And this was actually the estimate as of, I think it was back in April, and this was posted for the month of March. This right here was the 2021, which is going to be sitting roughly, I want to say, between 4 and 5%. And inflation, they were expecting in 2021, so right here, expecting it to be a little bit over 2%, just shy of 3%. So right now we're well over 4%. So we'll see if that actually does come down, right? That's going to be the transitory nature. This is going to be the dot plot where they don't, over the longer term, everybody sees inflation running past. The rate hikes in the future. But right now in 2022, only about 4 people. 2023, I think there was like 7 people, but nothing substantial there. And let me see if I can. All right, so we're gonna go over this and this. So this is the federal funds rate, right? So coming in from like 1999, 2000s, and you'll notice that we were at highs of 6.5, then we kind of trickled down to 5.5, and then we sold it off all the way down to 0.05. That's literally near zero levels, because of where we are with the inflation or where we are with the pandemic, right? Of course, it was dropped because of quantitative easing, raised liquidity, let people have more money, access to, cheaper borrowing rates, so they can buy new homes, refinance new homes. So it pushes like less pressure on the consumer, so to speak. But this is kind of cut off. But this was until like 2016 right here. This is till 2016 when we didn't really start raising rates, right? That's when we started raising rates. And we reached employment numbers that the Fed wanted to see right around these levels. So inflation around this time was actually also starting to creep up a little bit, right? So it was, again, transitory in nature. So this is, again, 10 years ago. And the Fed didn't do anything because they believed that this was transitory. This was temporary in nature. And that's why we were kind of hovering range bound. We didn't quite get past 3%, 4% for inflation. And we were kind of just sitting in between that level. And that's why the actual rate hikes began in 2016. And then, of course, went till 2020 before we saw the huge drawdown after the pandemic hit. So the point is that this, we've been here before when inflation has been running hot. If you were to look at it over 10 years ago, it was the same situation. Again, this is a good representation. So 2020 over here, 2010 was over there, and 2016 is when they actually started raising rates, the federal funds rate. All right, so let's take a look at some of the live chat here. I love the crypto. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a bounce, right? So we definitely saw a bounce off the lows here. For Ethereum, we saw a bounce off of 2370. For Bitcoin, we saw a bounce off of 36,300. Huge inverted hammer candles, and a lot of volume also kicked in right at those levels. All right, so let's go over to some more stocks here. We've broken down quite a bit of stocks still. Tom, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and your support here. So we're broken down all these different stocks so far, and we're going to cover some more. So let me know which ones you guys want to go over. First of all, let me know where you guys are tuning in from. We had well over 800 people in the live stream before, and now we have just under 300. So let me know where you guys are from and where you guys are tuning in from. And then let me know which stocks you guys want me to kind of go over, quickly go over the support and resistance levels. We'll maybe do this for like another 30 minutes. And then we'll see if you want to come back, after the market opens. But yeah, let me know where you guys are tuning in from, where in the world you guys are watching. So Korea, Romania, Naples, Switzerland, that's awesome. Saskatchewan, Canada, Dustin, that's awesome. That's great. I've actually done some research on Saskatchewan, Canada as well. That's great. Toronto, Korea, Sweden. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time and just, going over, watching the markets. So we got Boston. Love Boston. Spent 2 years there. Australia. I've never been to Australia before. I really want to go though. Austin, Texas, India, Hyderabad. Shout out to you. That's awesome. Rita, I'll go over NEO's next support below 31. It's kind of like the scenario that I haven't really fully thought or processed in my head yet. But yeah, definitely. If you see a breakdown below that level, then Laurel, Minnesota. I spent a couple months in Minnesota. Like actually 2 summers in Minneapolis. Love that place. It's great. California, Theodore, that's awesome. I've been to Los Angeles before. Skip Singapore. No, Singapore, I didn't skip you. I'm sorry. I've been to Malaysia. Saw Singapore from like Malaysia. Detroit, that's awesome. Microvision, we'll go over that in just a second. Las Vegas, Nevada. I've never been to Las Vegas. That's, there's definitely a lot of places I want to go to once this lockdown is over. And done with these quarantines. All right, so let's go over to some more stocks here. So we've got, we're gonna go over Microvision. We're gonna go over Natasha. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Yeah, so feel free to kind of go over and tell me like which stocks you guys want me to analyze. Have you been to Liverpool, UK? I have not. I've been to Manchester, UK. I've been to Old Trafford. I've been to the stadium. I actually watched the game, United versus Reading. Been a huge United fan. But I haven't been to Liverpool. But I've been to Manchester and London. All right, so RQTFs. So SOS is another one that we can go over. Swap, Mara, and Riot entry prices. Let's take a look. So where are they? So Riot, I have the support at 17, resistance at 20, or resistance at 30. Yeah, so that's right. And then Mara is at 20, support, so we're back over that level, and resistance at 28. Don't say you've been to a Manchester to a Liverpooler. I mean, it's completely okay because there's always been competition, right? I mean, because when you talk about well, Liverpool is also a very successful club, no doubt about that. I haven't been to south of France. Definitely want to go there soon. But I have been to the Paris airport. Haven't really gone out though. Caddy's well traveled. Yes, I have traveled to a lot of places. I've been to Iran, Dubai, and yeah, a lot of places in Europe, and of course in North America as well. Stephen, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right, let's go over to some stocks. So I've got Microvision, SOS. Those are the only two stocks that I've got from you guys. We need more ideas. What are some stocks you guys want to get targets for, right? Support, resistance levels. These are already covered in the previous live stream that got cut off, so you guys can watch that as well. After this, I'll go back to that one, put timestamps if I can, to go over exactly where the analysis is going to be. Netherlands, I have not. Amsterdam, I have not been, but definitely want to go there. All right, so Disney actually is on this list, right? Maybe it is. Yes, so Disney is right on this list. Support 160, resistance 180 right there. Enzo, that's great. I'll definitely visit, and when I do, I'll definitely reach out. Corsair, that's a great one. We'll go over Qualcomm. Norwegian Cruise Lines, that's going to be SNCHL. We'll go over XBI, that's going to be a biotech ETF that's been getting hit hard. All right, let's cover these first. So Microvision. So Microvision still is consolidating sideways. Nothing's really changed from our analysis from yesterday. There's still going to be support level sitting at $10 and resistance at 24.45, and we're just kind of like range bound. So if I were to kind of mark that out, that's going to be this range. So this right here is going to be kind of like a range bound between $10 support, 24.45. It's going to be the resistance there. All right, SOS. Haven't really looked into that stock at all, but we'll kind of go over. So SOS, lower highs being formed. That's going to continue to kind of extend, and there is going to be some support. We'll see if that actually does get validated here at close to 290. Hold on one second. Yeah, so for support, watch close to 290 for SOS. And resistance is going to stay put at close to this level, at close to 450. If you can get a successful breakout over 450 for SOS, that's going to put us back over those moving averages and outside this descending triangle. Am I lagging? Is the connection really bad once again? But should be better. Jason's back. All right, good. So how about plug and FCEL? We'll kind of go over on the other chart, and we'll cover Facebook as well. That's a great suggestion. We'll go over Corsair Gaming first. Where in India do you live? So I live in Noida. It's a small town outside of the capital, like New Delhi. So Corsair Gaming has like a lot of support at around like $30. It's kind of like one of those things that kind of resonates with Palantir, and it's just like right at that support at close to $30, and the resistance is so tight at close to 35 that we're just struggling to break out over that level. It's just so range bound in the shorter term trend. So this right here is going to be support, resistance for Corsair. So $30 support and $35 resistance for Corsair. Next, we're going to check out Qualcomm. So Qualcomm also bounced off of these support levels at close to 124 after having a huge breakdown on May 10th. It's down a little bit over 6%, but we're getting a bounce off of those lows of 124. This rate is going to turn into a resistance, the moving averages, and a resistance at close to 142. So two resistance levels for Qualcomm, 132 all the way as 142, and the support is going to be 124 to watch, at least on the day, right? So 124, in my opinion, that's going to be the level that's going to get validated in the near term. But we'll see if that level continues to kind of hold up. All right, so next one on the list, we've got Norwegian Cruise Line. NCLH. So Norwegian Cruise Line has just been making some type of a symmetrical triangle. So you'll notice that we're making lower highs here, and we continue to kind of make these higher lows. So that right there is going to be some type of a symmetrical triangle. In terms of a resistance, you know, keep a close eye at 31.85. You know, triple top resistance there for Norwegian. So boom, right there. Got rejected here, and got rejected here as well. So kind of like a triple bottom or triple top resistance, and the support is going to stay put at close to, I would say, like these levels, at close to 26.75. Again, previous resistance, validated support, validated support. It's going to be aligned with that higher low as well. So you know, usually when these patterns do form, it's very hard to tell which way they're going to break out to. But as we kind of continue to kind of fill in this channel, you know, we can expect a much bigger move out of Norwegian Cruise Lines. If you break out to the upside, resistance is going to stay put at 31.85. If you break down to the downside, support is going to be sitting at 26.70 levels. So support 26.75. Resistance for Norwegian is going to stay put at close to 31.85. All right, so we got Facebook next. So Facebook, we're definitely coming down. $303 is the support we talked about yesterday, and 315 is a resistance, right? So 305, call it 303, and resistance is going to be at 315. And considering like the broader market weakness that we're seeing, let's take a look at the markets. So again, we're coming down for Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, right? So Bitcoin just notched over 38,000. We got Ethereum just a little bit over 2,600. Nasdaq futures down over 1.4%, and S&P 500 futures also down roughly 1%. So if you do see some more weakness from the Nasdaq, you know, expect those breakdowns from these support levels as well for some of those stocks as well. All right, XPI. So this thing has just been selling off, right? We're off the highs so much. Like 174 was the resistance. We're down like 27%. You know, we continue to kind of make lower lows, even though there is some bullish divergence from the RSI, the relative strength. So if I were to kind of mark this, you'll notice that we're making lower highs or lower lows right here, and we continue to make higher lows. So that right there is a bullish divergence. So in my opinion, there is a reversal coming soon, but it's just, you know, exactly where to pinpoint and when that's going to start is very difficult. But 125 is going to be the support level on the day, kind of like a triple bottom here. And we briefly broke it down below that level, then we kind of recaptured that support. So that right there is going to be the first level, close to 125. And the resistance is going to stay put at close to 135. Kind of aligned with that moving averages there. We got a rejection there yesterday from the 21 EMA as well, so be mindful of those rejections. All right, so that's good. No one is panicking so far. Rita, you're welcome. OXY, that's going to be Occidental. So Occidental, I'll put some type of a support here. Let me see if I can. So there's definitely lower highs being formed. And so there's definitely not like a horizontal support that I'm able to identify for Occidental. Like it's not one support level that's previously validated as a resistance or a support here. Instead, what we're seeing is we're seeing some type of a higher low being formed, but on a very shorter time frame. It's not like we can extend this. Maybe you can extend this going back as far as December 28th. For the most part, lower highs being formed, higher lows being formed. It's kind of like a symmetrical triangle, so to speak, kind of like a wedge that we're filling in for Occidental. And you know, that could potentially lead to a further move, you know, to the up. Considering the weekly chart, we're validating the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA. So the resistance I would put down for Occidental that it needs to break out is going to be $28.20 or close to $20. And the support is actually going to be at $22. So $22 support and $28 is going to be the resistance for Occidental here. OXY support at 22 bucks. And resistance is going to be sitting at $20. Yeah, so Flyboard, yep, so we had that news overnight from China that they mentioned that they're not going to be accepting cryptocurrencies as form of payment. They were just reiterating that, and then of course that's the reason behind the sell-off. And right now we're seeing Ethereum back under 2,600 and Bitcoin also down back under 38,000. We're seeing that kind of curl back down a little bit here. What do you guys think? Comment down below what is your closing price on the week. On the week, it's Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Where's Ethereum? Where's Bitcoin? Where's the S&P 500 and where's the Nasdaq? To give you guys a very quick update, SPY right now is at 407 and QQQ is at 317. What do you guys think? All four, Bitcoin, Ethereum, SPY, and QQQ. Where do we land on Friday? It's only Wednesday, right? So we got 3 more trading days, 4 trading days left. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. But yeah, what do you guys think for Ethereum, Bitcoin, and SPY and QQQs? 30,000 BTC, 32K Bitcoin end of week, Brandon says. So let's listen on this very quickly.
We have CPI over 4% right now. If you look at that another way, you know, any price earnings above 25 means that the earnings yield of that company is no longer keeping up with inflation. You know, pre-pandemic, you know, with CPI in the mid ones, everything in the S&P had a comfortable real earnings yield. So we have a very different set of both market and monetary circumstances and economic circumstances right now.
When we talk about the market influences, I want to talk about the risk that has been introduced by Bitcoin. Yes, we do have Bitcoin down significantly, and people are talking about how that's indicative of a risk-off move. And yet, I've been looking this morning at PayPal, MasterCard, Tesla, Square, some pretty big companies that have significant Bitcoin exposure. And I'm wondering, at what point does a real drawdown in Bitcoin become something more systemic that a portfolio manager invested in U.S. equities has to pay attention to?
You know, there is some crossover. I mean, you know, 3 years ago when Bitcoin blew up, it really didn't matter. But right now, there is some real institutional money and some real wealth management money in Bitcoin. And of course, there's a significant amount of market cap. But as I said, I think the hope trade, you know, which covers things like Tesla, you know, is already in a significant correction. You know, and I think these stocks still have much further to fall over a period of time. And I think it does have the potential to have sort of waves of panic attached to it. But I don't think it's going to undermine the cyclical forces which are also in place at this point in time. So if I look ahead several months, I think there's quite a lot of cyclical equities in the US and global indexes like Australia and the UK, which are very cyclically focused, which I think can be significantly higher. And there's scope for significantly lower prices in a lot of the high multiple portions of the US and global equity market.
What is the profile of a panic in markets right now at a time when the Fed is keeping policies very easy and at a time of such incredible growth in earnings?
Well, it's a significant drawdown in prices, and it has been a fairly severe correction so far in these high multiple names. The good thing is you're losing money you only just made. So a lot of this stuff is still higher than it was towards the end of the fourth quarter 2020, but the declines from their 2021 high is significant. There's a lot of stuff down 30% plus. In a couple of months, which by any definition is a severe correction. No, it's too early to say what the end of today looks like, but the S&P responding by going down 1.5–2%. There's a degree of panic in the market at that point.
Michael, what's the opportunity in equities when you look at sectors and the different factors that are out there between small cap, mid cap, international, and a beleaguered EM? Where's the opportunity?
Well, as I said, I think in the cyclical parts, and EM is a good example. I don't like the MSCI Emerging Market Index as a place to put money, but the reason is because it's now dominated by Asian technology companies, which is not really what I want to own right now. But some of the cyclical emerging market indexes still look just fine. Brazil looks cheap, Mexico looks fine, Russia looks fine. They just don't have a lot of market cap as far as the overall index is concerned. You could say the same about the S&P. I don't think it's the best benchmark to be in, but the cyclical portions of it, energy, materials, some of the financials, I think look just fine. And globally, I think the two developed markets that really stand out are the UK and Australia, simply because of the makeup of their indexes. The UK gives you a lot of materials and a lot of energy. Australia gives you a lot of financials and a lot of materials. And I think the underlying FX is also going to matter.
So that's an interesting take. I mean, financials, energy, like he's still pointing out to a cyclical sort of value play here, which I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I feel like the real opportunity now after the sell-off should be in growth space, but of course time is a constraint here. We're going to see whether 2021 actually does see any type of money flowing back into tech or growth, if we see this entire year as like a complete wash for tech and growth and they continue to underperform. But I don't know. I kind of disagree with financials and energy there. They were good runs. They were good plays for like the last 6 months where they were kind of suppressed and they were selling off. But they're at almost 52-week highs. Their forward Ps are almost perfectly priced in. But I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. All right, let's take a look at some other stocks very quickly. We broke down a lot of stocks today, you guys. So we've broken down, I want to say close to like 25, 30 stocks here. And let me know if there's new companies that we want to add to the list, right? We're going to keep building on this list, and this will be shared to our Discord members right before the market opens. So I'll kind of end this live stream about 30 minutes before. I'll put the morning briefing with all the price targets, support resistance levels there. And again, if you guys want to be a part of that, the link is going to be down in the description below. All right, let's take a look at SEEL, SEAL. So massive sell-off of 18% yesterday. Not really sure what went wrong there. But I would watch the 50 EMA, 293, right? That's the level at close to $3 as a support potentially to see if it actually holds up above that level. Considering the RSI, the MACD were also very, very overbought here once they were pushing higher. Right now we're seeing a bearish crossover for the MACD below the signal line. The RSI is also pointing down. So 293, 290 or close to that level is going to be the level to watch. And then of course below that we're going to be watching $2 because that's the bounce off the lows that we got from the 21 EMA. Supa, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Thanks for covering Tesla. So yeah, of course, Tesla, NIO, some of those companies definitely we will cover every day, and kind of add on to more and more every single day as well. So the entire list again will be provided to all of you guys who are part of the Discord. So we'll kind of add that on there. But 214, 215 is going to be the support level, and 292, close to $3 is going to be the next two support levels to watch. And resistance is going to stay put at close to 450. That's because we got rejected here, so we pushed up. We got rejections. We back tested that support once again before a breakout, and then some more surge higher. Another thing I want to point out is that we were seeing a bearish divergence for the RSI relative to where the price was trading. So higher highs being formed here, and lower highs being formed here as well. So we were going up on weaker and weaker breath. That's why we're seeing a more persistent sell-off here from the highs, and we are down a little bit over 54%. So support level to watch for this stock, SEEL. There's going to be two of them, 215 and a 295. 215 and 295, and resistance is going to stay put at close to 450. 445. All right, so a few more stocks. So CCIV, let's take a look at that one. CCIV, actually I have it on a different chart. I just have to see where that is. It's actually going to be on this one. So this one actually has a lot of charts that I want to break down. So let's just put Bitcoin over here, down below, and we'll put CCIV over here. Yeah, so this right here is going to be Ethereum. QQQ is down over 1.5%, so definitely not a good look for the NASDAQ. And Bitcoin is down close to 14%, now under 37,000. So CCIV support at 1750. We continue to kind of fill in this channel. So we're going to go over to the daily chart here. I hope you guys can see it. I know it's a very small screen, but this is where I saved my chart. Let me see if I can actually open it on a different chart. But I think it's just going to give me that error where it continues to kind of tell me that it's being opened on another browser or frame. But we can just ignore that. So, all right. CCIV over here. So we got on the daily chart, it continues to kind of fill in this channel. So support level I would watch is 1750 levels. And the resistance, there's going to be two of them. The first one is going to be these lower highs. Inside this descending triangle where we continue to kind of form these lower highs, and then all the way as 2450-ish levels. So CCIV, going to be watching support levels at close to 1750. And resistance is going to be at 1940 all the way as 2450. Actually, no, it's not going to be 1940. My bad. So it's going to be at $20.75. Like pretty much the lower high that we have sitting over here, right? So lower high is over here. So call it 2075. All the way as high as 2450. A Tesla rally would stop the slide in NASDAQ and crypto. So yeah, I mean that could be something, and let's take a look at Kryptos here. So Kryptos continuing a slide below 37. Look at that. Look at Ethereum on the 1 minute. Came down to lows of 2,400, now back over 2,500. I mean the volatility on these cryptocurrencies is insane. Like it's just so hard to imagine the volatility that we're seeing. Like they can have these $100. I mean, that's just Ethereum. Kryptos can have, like Bitcoin specifically can have like thousands of dollars in a matter of minutes. So Ethereum kind of bouncing off the lows here from 2,500, and Bitcoin is also bouncing off of lows of close to 36.4. So who would have thought that Bitcoin was literally hanging on by Elon's outlook? You know, it's very surprising. It's raising a lot of questions that Elon didn't know about the energy usage and you know, how it's mined. And all those things. So it's kind of, you know, raises a lot of curiosity as to why wasn't that researched or known prior to Tesla investing 1.5 billion. All right, more stocks. Let's go over to some more stocks. We got about 10 more minutes that we're gonna do this, and then this entire list will be provided on the Discord. Bond, what is my end of year target for NEO? That's a great question. My earlier target was well over $80 a share for NEO, but right now the timeline is a little bit, you know, we'll have to kind of readjust and reassess that, only because of the supply chain issues, which was not forecasted or expected coming into Q1 2021. So that's going to put dampen on the delivery numbers a little bit. My estimate was close to 100,000 vehicles delivered, and revenue estimate was close to $5 billion for NEO. Right, last year I think we did just about 2.5 billion for the full fiscal year 2020. That's going to be a 100% increase year over year is what I was expecting earlier, close to 100,000 deliveries, coming in from just about 45,000, and from revenues 2.5 billion to $5 billion in revenues in 2021. But considering the supply chain issues, the inflation expectations, and all those different things, I'll have to kind of readjust and reassess those targets. And as we have more clarity and more visibility into the future, I'll definitely kind of readjust and address those new targets very soon for everybody. But definitely seeing a little bit of a pullback here once again. For both Bitcoin and it's just like one of those times. What is the time in the West Coast right now? I feel like people are just waking up. First we had that East Coast sell-off. Right, this right here was the East Coast sell-off, then span of 7:33 till 8:49. So within the next 1 hour, we saw the West Coast sell-off over here. But I don't know if we're gonna see a breakdown below 23. Oh, there we go. I was just about to say it. And there we go. We just break down below 2370 as well for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, we're still not. Are we? Let's take a look. So we're gonna go over to the 30-minute chart. 35,261. Okay, so we are seeing a pullback here. Bitcoin with a new low. Yes, Goose, that is correct. It was a dead cap bounce. Yeah, that is you know, really unfortunate at the moment for, of course, for all crypto investors. But so SPY is down over 1%, QQQ is down over 1.54. Matthew says, let's take a look at Google. That's a good suggestion here. So Google's actually pushed up quite a bit, quite fast. So year to date, it's up over 30%, 31%. So I'm a little bit cautious and mindful about this one, because in the near term, wouldn't be surprised if it either has two scenarios. It either comes down with the NASDAQ, or it goes side, or basically trades sideways, right? Trades in a horizontal pattern, consolidates as the NASDAQ continues to push up. So those are kind of like the two scenarios I see, because year to date, I feel like a lot of the growth is priced in to Google stock. 31% jump for a market cap, you know, that's over 1.5 trillion is nothing small, which is why there's going to be some support levels that I want you guys to watch. 2,300 is going to be acting as a resistance now moving forward, because we're trading below that level. And support level is going to be sitting roughly at 2,120, kind of aligned with this higher low as well for Google stock. And also keep a close eye at that 50 exponential moving average, sitting roughly at 2,200. We kind of came back down, validated that 50 EMA before breaking out once again, and right now we're down, trading below 2,300. So So Google support is going to be sitting at 2230 levels. And resistance is going to stay put at 2300. 2305, something like that. All right. Oof. Ethereum's down over 34%. And Bitcoin's now down under 35,000. Jason says Bitcoin 10K, man. I'm telling you, if it comes down to 10K, I will definitely be buying a lot. I mean, if it comes down to 10K, of course with the ban, like that's a big drawback for me, like to basically be investing directly in Bitcoin, because my plan is to hold long term. And if there's any regulations that come into play, so like, we can break down an article right now. So you can come down, you can read a couple of articles that were posted even today. And I was like talking to some other people here and, trying to do as much research. And what they really mentioned was that right now it's not a problem. Right now you can do it. But over time, as they look into it in more detail, it can be a problem down the road, which can result in some forced selling if you hold or store any Bitcoin. So right here is a piece of news. So you'll notice how while the Bitcoin bloodbath continues in the markets, newer investors panic selling, glimmers of cheer have appeared in India, where joyful crypto advocates have been welcoming reports that the government may be set to scrap talk of a ban and instead take a regulatory route. So we've been talking about a ban for years. So I'll do some more research on that, and I'll see if you actually can do this or not, right? Because look at those pullbacks here. Ethereum just hit a low of $2,000. It just hit a low of $2,000. But like, take a look at Bitcoin here. Breaching 32,000, almost literally on the dot, right as we speak. 33,000 right on the dot by the decimal. Literally, there we go. We just breached below 33K. Lows of 32,888. This is crazy, you guys. I'm not really sure what, let's take a look at the volume, right? So volume is heavy too, like 4,000 Bitcoins here. Probably the highest we've seen in since 7:30 a.m. Eastern, so like in about an hour. This is the highest volume we've seen. For Ethereum, it's actually the lower volume bar. 2,000 is going to be Ethereum, right on the dot by the decimal, 2001. So are we going to breach below 2,000 here? We're literally like right there. We're right on the dot at $2,000. Like right on the dot. Like we're not even moving. The bids are sitting at 2,000 right on the dot there. So as soon as we see the bids drop, oh, there we go, 1988, 1999 for Ethereum. For Bitcoin, we're under 32,600. Ooh. If you take a look at the Dogecoin's at 25 cents, a 45% drop there. But there we go. We're seeing some buyers stepping on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute for Bitcoin. Why is Ethereum, I want to understand from you guys too, why is Ethereum actually selling off more than Bitcoin? Because if you look at Bitcoin, it's down about 21% and Ethereum is actually down over 40%. The moves in Ethereum have been more violent than they have been for Bitcoin for some reason, right? Why is that the case? Of course, Dogecoin has been even more severe, down over 44%, but why has the move been more aggressive in Ethereum is what I'm trying to understand, than something like Bitcoin. Mustafa says because it's a shitcoin. All right, so we're seeing some buyers step in here. Yeah, it's definitely. All right, guys, so it's almost 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm gonna probably end the live stream here, but I really appreciate your guys' support. You know, we did this for maybe like almost, I want to say 2 hours. We started at like way too early. But this right here are everything that we talked about in terms of all the stocks between the two live streams. The first one I got cut off because of a power outage. But these right there are all the support resistance levels, which I will share with our Discord members shortly, and with the entire morning briefing as well. If you guys want to get access to that, the link is going to be down in the description below. You guys are more than welcome to join. And again, feel free to check out Webull, which is going to be a brokerage that I've also used and I'm also using right now along with Fidelity. If you sign up, deposit $100, you will get 2 free stocks valued up to $18.50. You've probably heard that a million times if you've been watching any other content creators. But that being said, Patreon link and TradingView is also going to be down in the description below if you want to get access to our private Discord as well. So thank you so much for joining in, you guys. I really appreciate you guys' support. And again, fundamentally speaking and having a longer term view, can't speak too much for cryptos because I'm not an expert there. I haven't done much research, just can simply speak on the technicals for cryptos. But in terms of stocks, you know, long term, this is simply a blip that we're seeing. Of course, SPY and QQQ are down. You know, SPY is down over 1.3 now, and oh man, I can't even imagine what the Nasdaq is down a little bit over 1.78, almost 2%, for QQQs, while SPY continues to sell off 1.3. So yeah, definitely a lot of weakness, but you know, it's part of the markets. They go up and they go down, right? Someone has to sell, right? Someone has to sell at some point because everyone has a different time frame. Everyone has a different horizon. So that's about it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate your guys' support. Check out the links down in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Happy investing.